what is the most interesting job you've had, and what made it so?
Well, I think the most interesting job I've had was teaching English, an English teaching job in France. I was living in Paris and working for a company called Linguarama. And it was teaching English to business people in their places of work.
Hmm.
So I would travel a lot around Paris, sometimes outside Paris, go into my students' workplaces and give them lessons.
Oh,
And I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed traveling around Paris. I remember, for example, I did lessons for somebody who worked for Lindt, the chocolate company.
mm.
And I remember one Christmas, he gave me some of their new chocolates to taste.
Hmm.
And he wanted me to give him feedback about what I thought about these new chocolates they were producing. I remember I also used to go to a quite often actually to a company that made fire extinguishers, and it was quite a long trip. I would have to get an underground train to one of the big train stations in Paris, and then a train out to the suburbs of Paris, and then a bus to the fire extinguisher factory. And I would often do that. It took quite a long time. That was at least an hour, quite early in the morning. And I would often arrive, and the student had forgotten they had an English lesson
Nice.
and would be
But
in a meeting, and then that would be it. And I would then have to then
but you,
return to
you got
Paris.
paid for it. You got paid for it though.
I still got paid for it. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And actually, I remember just before I did some lessons there for the first time, I actually had locked myself out of the flat I was living in. And the only way I could get back in was by breaking the window, because I was living on the ground floor.
Mhm.
And in order to do that, I used the fire extinguisher, and it so happened that it was made by the company that I was then sent to do lessons to teach English at, about a week or a couple of weeks later. So that was good. And I remember also going to a company that was, I suppose, a water treatment company.
Mhm.
And I have to say, it was the smelliest workplace I ever visited.
Nice.
So there was a very large pool of water in the middle. All the offices were surrounding it, which is obviously where
Nice.
they were doing water treatment. And then I would go into one of the offices and do an English
Okay.
lesson.
What makes a job attractive to you? So, what makes it enjoyable these days?
I think I think a really important aspect of a job that makes it attractive is having good colleagues.
Hmm.
Um, Colleagues that you get on well with, and colleagues that you can have fun with,
Hmm.
actually. Because I don't think that I think you can have fun at work and produce and do good work,
Hmm.
is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's necessarily the case that uh, being very serious all the time is the way in which you do the best work. In fact, so having colleagues who you get on with, who you can have fun with, I think is very important, so that you look forward to going to work. You look forward to seeing your colleagues. You enjoy their company. Um, that is important. That's not always the case, actually. I have
Hmm.
found with the jobs I've done.
Can you think about you specifically? What is perhaps the one of the worst jobs that you've done in your life? Have you had any bad ones?
I think my least favorite job was when I was working in a supermarket, and I was
Hmm.
stacking shelves
Hmm.
mainly, and because it was very repetitive, not
Hmm.
creative. Yeah,
Hmm.
doing the same thing repeatedly.
Hmm.
Um, I was working in a supermarket. I was stacking yogurts mainly, like dairy
Hmm.
products, yogurts,
What about
butter,
colleagues? Were they
milk.
good? Were they nice colleagues? Fun colleagues?
Um, no, I don't think they were. My memory is it's quite a solitary job. It involved me going into a big fridge that was very
Mm-hmm.
cold, so that was unpleasant. Um, Often the yogurts will have broken, and
Mm-hmm.
broken yogurt is also pretty broken yogurt pots are quite
Mm-hmm.
unpleasant
Mm-hmm.
to clear up.